Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Dailies. We broadcast live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie using over there. So coming up this hour, Green and Gold update coming up here momentarily, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Things that we missed, including talking about that Bucks preseason game last night. We didn't get to Gundy's comments from Okie State yesterday. We'll get to that. And first-time Hall of Fame candidates in Major League Baseball. Braun is part of that. We'll get to that at 4:40. But coming up at 4:20, so 4:20 is like 11 minutes from now, is Toby Altizer. Yet he is sitting there, chilling out. What are you doing, man? You have nothing else going on in your life, just hanging out, waiting for us to bring you on in like 10 minutes, or what?
I have no life, Sparky. I have nothing else going on in my life. I was just, waiting to hang out with the old pals. So that's all I got.
No? Okay, then. Very good. All right, well, we're going to put you back on hold. We'll get right back to you. So you're good? You're all right?
Ready to roll, man.
Ready to roll. All right, very good. All right, put him back down off stage. All right, back to we go here to our Green and Gold update.
It's time for your Green and Gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan with Steve Sparky Fifer.
All right, let's get to it. So, I got to quit saying that. You know what? We're going to have a jar. We got to figure out where we're going to put it. Something. I want to have a jar of things that I always say. So if you're listening right now, and you're like, Sparky, you always say this. Not the live. I'm not getting rid of that.
I was going to say, Trevor's going to make his own jar of that.
Forget Trevor. No, I'm not getting rid of live. But, let's get to it. That's something I say a lot. Anytime you're like, man, you said that like 5 times this show. Quit saying that so much. I want you just to tweet at Sparky Radio and be like, put that to the catchphrase board, right? And then we're going to have some type of penalty. We're going to try and make Sparky better, using y'all to make me better. So we'll have to have some type of penalty that I have to do or something along those lines every time I say one of these, crutch phrases that I say from time to time. Because what I do off the air all the time, I never knew I did it until my 2-year-old did it. And Kate started laughing. I was like, where did she get that from? She's like, seriously? I was like, yeah. She's like, you say it all the time. So apparently when I'm on the phone and I'm talking to somebody, you probably are going to laugh. I'm like, yep, you do that. I always go, yep.
Yeah, you say that all the time.
Right? Had no idea I did it. None. And Kay's like, I never hear you doing it on the radio that much, but on the phone you do it all the time or in person. Yep. And then, it's over. So I'm working on that off the air, but I know there's stuff on the air that I do too. So if y'all could help, that'd be great. Okay, so Green and Gold update. So I literally came in today, and the nice thing about working with a former athlete, regardless of how far that athlete went, a college football player over here, Charlie Usen, played at Brooks Central, starting offensive lineman as well in college. I had a question because I was confused by something that I saw. Brett Holman, who we talk about all the time, Coleman, that we talk about all the time on the show and we've had on before, put out this graph, and it says, from Pro Football Focus, here's every team's passer rating when targeting the danger zone between the numbers at a depth between 10 to 20 yards. Lamar Jackson is an alien, LOL. So then you click on it, and passer rating, you look at Lamar Jackson, number 1, 151.5. Joe Burrow is 2, 131.0. Like, those are really, really good passer ratings. So I came into Charlie. I go, Charlie, what exactly do they mean by danger zone? Charlie? What is a danger zone? I mean, I've watched football for a long time. I don't think I've ever heard anybody call it a danger zone. So what's a danger zone?
So the danger zone is the most crowded part of the field. So usually where the middle linebackers, the safeties are going to be sitting in any given play. So it's that part in between the numbers and the hashes, and any pass that's going over the middle of the field. A lot of people look at that pass and say that's you can't throw that to a wide receiver because they're going to get their head taken off.
Aaron Rodgers is a guy that always threw to the sidelines. He never wanted to throw down the middle. He always threw to the sidelines for that reason. He was afraid of getting picked off, whatever else. I didn't realize there was a name for it, but that's what it was for Aaron Rodgers. That's why he never threw down the middle of the field. Jordan Love, not as concerned about not throwing down the middle of the field. However, Brett Coleman put in a tweet right below that. Also, good God, Jordan Love, question mark. That's what triggered me to look at this thing. Because I was scrolling, and I saw the second comment underneath the graph, and I was like, what do you mean, good God, Jordan Love? So I look at this thing. Jordan Love is second to last, or the Packers, I should say, not just Jordan Love, but the Packers. So I guess this could include Malik Willis's couple of games. 31 out of 32 teams. They had a 69.2 quarterback rating in that area of the field.
That's pretty gross.
69.2. Who's worse? The Colts. At 65 was the Colts, and that was a handful of bad quarterbacks. 30th, Cleveland, another bad team. Atlanta, and bad situation over there with Kirk Cousins and their quarterback situation at 29. 28, the Rams. 27, Carolina. We know that's a disaster. The Jets, 26. There's nobody good at the bottom of this roster except probably Jordan Love. He's the only one.
I would say that, and Matthew Stafford isn't a bad quarterback either. And you look at the bottom of this list, and what really stands out to me is the way that a lot of these teams use their tight ends. In the Green Bay situation, I think they still focus a lot more on those outside the numbers types of throws. You see Romeo Dobbs do a lot of those outside out routes that he loves to run, and Matt LaFleur loves to run with him. They do a lot of tight end screens with Tucker Kraft. Not a lot of things that happen in the middle of the field with him, at least at some kind of depth between that 10 to 20 yard range, which I think is really interesting. When you look at Atlanta, Kyle Pitts is a very good tight end, but they use him a lot more on deep corner routes on the outside of the numbers. Same way. Higbee in Los Angeles is a lot of the same way. He's not a lot in the middle of the field in that 10 to 20 yard range. You look at the teams at the top, though. Baltimore with Mark Andrews, that's one of their favorite places to use him. You go to Philadelphia and Washington with Goddard and Zach Ertz. Both of them are big body guys that they like to keep in the middle of the field that can fight off those linebackers, but are also athletes. You see the trends in where they break off and how these teams run their offenses and how much that correlates with what's happening on the field.
So the question is, how big of an issue is that to you? We don't have a lot of time to necessarily take calls on it, but you can tweet at us, Facebook us at The Fan Milwaukee if you want to get involved, or on YouTube. That's where we're live streaming right now as well, at The Fan Milwaukee. Like, subscribe, at The Fan Milwaukee. It sounds like to me, listening to you talk, the fix is simple. The fix is just game planning more of Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave in the middle of the field. It sounds like this is a problem that can be fixed by the head coach / play caller of this team, Matt LaFleur.
It can be fixed, but I also think, yes, maybe there's not a lot of great teams at the bottom of this list, but it doesn't mean you have to fix this. Just because you're bad in a certain stat doesn't mean that it's automatically a problem for this team. This Packers offense found a lot of success with a lot of those out routes and those short fields type of situations, the screen passes that they would run with a lot of these guys, and running the ball. You look at these other teams at the bottom. Indianapolis has a really good run game with Jonathan Taylor back there. Cleveland, when they are healthy, has a really good run game. Atlanta has one of the best run games in the league. Los Angeles has one of the best run games in the league. Carolina, surprisingly, was one of the best running teams in the league last year.
True.
So I think just because it's a bad stat doesn't mean it automatically needs to get fixed.
Let's talk about the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Nothing needs to get fixed at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It is perfection. 6,500 square feet. 2 levels. That second level, they'll open up. You can have parties, business events, whatever else. You can rent it out. We've had our Mason Crosby event there, remember? He came out and met a bunch of people. So it's there for you if you would like to use it. And 30 different sporting events at one time you can watch there. Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen, amazing. Amazing food. All-day brunch. Burgers, wings, wraps, salads, homemade desserts and pastries made every day at the Potawatomi Hotel Casino. 48 beers on tap, over a dozen different specialty cocktails. I always say reserve, reserve, reserve. You don't want to be standing there for 3 or 4 hours watching a game. Make sure you got a seat. Go to Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. There's a nominal fee, but it goes towards your food and beverage bill, which you're going to spend the money on anyhow because you're going to be there for a while. Reserve your seat ahead of time by going to Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. And don't forget, they're showing SummerSlam. If you're a big WWE guy like Mitch Thunder Nellis, you can check that out coming up at the beginning of August. They'll have SummerSlam on at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, it is Toby Altizer from 106.7 The Fan over there in beautiful Washington, D.C. We'll get his thoughts on the Nationals and Brewers coming up tonight. Time for your fan weather forecast. 78 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Rain still in the forecast for the remainder of the evening and into the overnight hours. Low of 68. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. How are y'all doing here on a Friday? Don't forget, coming up at 6 o'clock, the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wirtz will be here getting you ready. Lineups, transactions. Brewers made a couple of transactions today as well, changing out a couple of pitchers. Moving one up, moving one down to AAA. Well, actually, that's not true. One went to the paternity list. One is getting called up. And then the other one is Blake Perkins, who is starting a rehab assignment at AAA. So stay tuned for that. Plus, you'll get your lineups, hear from Pat Murphy. Andrew Wagner, I think, is on. I'm not sure because he's going to that concert at Harley Fest or whatever they got going on, right? So I think Wagner's on. I'm not quite sure. But Andrew Wagner, brought to you by Focus Baseball, I think he is on tonight as well. So make sure to tune that in 6 to 7 as you can before every Brewers game. Joining us now on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law, he is Toby Altizer, formerly of the Fan, back in the day. Toby Altizer, you tell me, when was it that you actually were here at the Fan? Do you remember?
I think it was 21 through 23, I believe, is the time frame.
21 to 23. So that wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't all that long ago.
So now you're out in DC, back with friends and family, and working at 106.7 The Fan, and hosting on weekends, and producing, and doing all of that fun stuff. And you go from watching good sports to watching crap sports for the most part. Now, the Commanders, they've turned the corner with Jaden Daniels, and you got Josh. This YouTube camera, I swear to you, I'm going to throw it at the window. I swear to you.
You don't like this?
How do you keep getting it to zoom in?
I literally just zoomed out with this stupid camera.
Next to your face.
See, and again, I don't know, man. Whatever. If it zooms back in again, I'm going to just punch it right through the window. So anyways, Toby's laughing because he's on YouTube as well. At YouTube, or not at YouTube, at the Fan Milwaukee on YouTube if you want to watch me get mad at the camera. But you got the Commanders. Josh Harris comes in. He buys that team. I immediately said things will get much better now. The dude knows what he's doing, and I think he's a solid dude. So that turned that culture around, so that's good. Wizards, I have no words. I'm sorry, I guess.
I will say about the Wizards, like, they've been bad for a long time, but at least the new front office has a direction. So
what's that?
I can get them. Well, they're just playing their young guys and hoping to get good players, and then eventually, once they're ready, they'll go get somebody big. But they got screwed out of the first pick this year, or at least a top 3 pick. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But I at least can get on board with the direction they're going now.
Okay, fine. Now the third team is the team the Brewers play coming up this weekend, starting tonight. The Brewers and the Nationals. And the Nationals are a team that, of course, I always get on too early for some of these young guys in fantasy baseball. Last year, I had James Wood in fantasy baseball. As soon as he got called up, he was okay. This year, James Wood in fantasy baseball is absolutely killing it. Tell everybody about the star outfielder that's going to be in the All-Star game.
He's so impressive to watch on a nightly basis, Sparky, because there have been 2 stud outfielders that this team has had that are frankly gone now. But in Bryce Harper and Juan Soto, 2 guys that were kind of transcendent talents, and you've got a little bit of both in his game. So you'll see the Juan Soto-ness right away, and the fact that this guy, it almost seems like he'd rather stand there than swing the bat. Like, he is very, very selective on what he's going to swing at. And then he's got the home run power that Bryce Harper had, and his ability to go to all fields. If you asked him where he'd prefer to hit his home runs, despite standing in the left-handed batter's box, he's going to try to pepper the ball to left center field. And that's something that he's done really, really well. Now, early on in his career, and I know it's only been just over a year that he's been in the bigs, but early on, he really wasn't pulling the ball. Now that he's pulling the ball and pulling it in the air, basically anytime he pulls it in the air, it's a home run. And he's a very, very special talent. He's very understated. So if he hits a home run in this series in Milwaukee, you won't even notice a reaction. Matter of fact, the reaction would be the same thing as if he strikes out 3 times. So he's an interesting athlete to watch. He's someone that's very, very quiet, but he's very, very good, and it's cool because he's from our area out here in D.C., so his parents are at every game. So nice. It's really cool to have him star here at Nationals Park.
So obviously he is a concern in that lineup. Are there any other concerns for Brewers pitchers that you have to be fearful of when dealing with?
It's all righties in this series, so I wouldn't say that there's much to be concerned about other than him and C.J. Abrams. And that's matter of fact.
I don't feel like C.J. Abrams has worked out to the extent that everybody thought he was going to be when he was a prospect. Where was he? The Padres, I think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all those guys came over. Him, Gore, James Wood all came over in the Soto deal. Matter of fact, I was on the air at the Fan in Milwaukee when that trade went down.
Right.
The Hader trade happened, and then the next day the Soto trade happened. And as soon as the Hader trade went down, I said, well, Juan Soto's headed to San Diego because none of the guys were included in that trade. But, yeah, CJ hasn't been – like, he's been really, really good in stretches. But, yeah, I mean, he's nowhere close to the level of James Wood. Matter of fact, we've had discussions out here about whether they should flip the lineup, because most of the time it's CJ leading off and then James Wood in the 2-hole, and there's no one behind him for protection, to a point that in LA against the Angels earlier this year, James Wood was walked intentionally 4 straight times to the plate.
Oh, my goodness.
The last time that happened was Barry Bonds. And look, there's no question which guy was better. And, Barry Bonds is probably the best hitter I've ever seen, just for the short period that when I watched him growing up. But James Wood has no protection in the lineup. So you're right. If you're doing anything, if you're Pat Murphy, if you're coming up with a game plan, number 29 cannot beat you in this series, and you'll feel pretty good otherwise, because chances are if number 29 doesn't beat you, then you're not going to get beaten.
The starting pitcher tonight, Toby Altizer, for your Nationals team is Mitchell Parker. I had Mitchell Parker in fantasy earlier in the year. He was doing all right, and then he started to blow up and not be as good. I thought there were some expectations with Mitchell Parker last year coming into this year as well. How do fans view this one?
Yeah, so he was an interesting one. The Nationals have had a couple of pitchers. You'll, matter of fact, see 2 of the guys in the series, and Mitchell Parker and Jake Irvin, that were kind of middling prospects that came up. And they were
not a Jake Irvin guy.
Yeah, neither one of them. Matter of fact, both of them have been 2 of the worst pitchers in the first inning. Mitchell Parker comes into tonight with a first inning ERA of 8.50, and Jake Irvin comes into his start, I believe, on Sunday with the first inning ERA of 9.95. So
get to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Go make some money, man. Toby Altizer is telling you how to bet on this thing. Oh, my goodness. All right, that is crazy. Man, if the Brewers get shut out in the first inning tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to be hot.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Matter of fact, my thing that I was doing with Mitchell Parker is any start was, there's going to be a first inning run. I don't know how the rest of the game's going to go, but Mitchell Parker, if he can avoid the blow up in the first inning, he's been solid. He was really, really good to start the year. He was their best pitcher for about a month and a half, and then you're right, the wheels kind of came off, and the stuff's okay. None of the guys that you're going to see in this series are going to have overly great stuff. No one's going to overpower anybody, and so I would try to get to Mitchell Parker early. He's been a little bit better of late than he was through some really bad stretches, but his big thing is when it goes bad, it starts going really, really bad, so it's about kind of damage control for him. But, yeah, first inning, frankly, for all the pitchers you're going to see this series, wouldn't be surprised if the Brewers found themselves up early in every single one of these games.
How did y'all win 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals coming into this thing?
No, we lost 2 of 3.
Oh, you lost 2 out of 3. I thought you won 2 out of 3. You're right. The only game you won was Gore, who the Brewers don't have to deal with, which I'm thankful for that. Even Gore is, 4-8? Even he hasn't worked out to the extent that I think you all thought he was supposed to be like the crown jewel, wasn't he?
Mackenzie Gore has been just fine. He's gotten no run support, Sparky. He had a outing not that long
you
ago.
And Paul Skeens, cry me a river.
I mean, come on. Like, he goes 6 innings of 1-run ball and gets the loss. Like, let's be real. That's not on Mackenzie Gore. I think it kind of tells the story when you have an ERA of 3.02 and your record is 4-8. It kind of tells you your baseball team sucks.
Then we need to start this, Charlie. Let's start the trade Mackenzie Gore because there's no future in D.C. thing right now. That's what they're doing to Skeens in Pittsburgh. They should be doing the same thing to Mackenzie Gore in Washington.
They've already had that. It popped up here and there. We had a guy mention it on our station today. Ken Rosenthal had said it. I am not on board, especially when you have an interim general manager. You better not be touching my prized ace, but regardless.
Don't trade him to the Cubs. Do not trade. I swear to you, Toby Altizer, you all better not trade him to the damn Cubs. I do not want to see him in a Cubs uniform in the second half. Do not trade him to the trader, please, whatever you do. Toby Altizer, 106.7 The Fan. Follow him on Twitter at Toby_Altizer. You were mentioning earlier about how the Wizards kind of got screwed, whatever. The Nationals, y'all got the number 1 pick again in the MLB amateur draft coming up on Sunday night, rounds 1 through 3, rounds 4 and on Monday. We had Dan Zielinski from BaseballProspectJournal.com on earlier, another former person that worked here at the Fan at 240. He does a great job if you're looking for somebody to talk about the draft. And we were just talking about the fact that this ain't necessarily a great draft, and there is no Strasburg. There is no Bryce Harper necessarily at the top of this draft. Those other 2 years, the Nationals fell into it like getting Shaq or LeBron. You don't get that same luck this year with this draft.
No, you don't, but I still think that there's quality players. We had a guy on talking about Kate Anderson not that long ago, and he said he felt like his ceiling was maybe a pretty good 2, but floor is somewhere as a number 4 starter, which I don't love. When you have the number 1 overall pick, you'd love to be able to get your ace. But, if they go with Cade Anderson, I think I'd be fine with that. I prefer Ethan Holiday. I think you go with someone that has 30 homer upside, a guy that could be your third baseman of the future, maybe ends up in a corner outfield spot. I don't think he's going to stick at shortstop, but he's a guy that could be a cornerstone piece of this lineup with James Wood going forward. If he's anything like his brother, he can get to the bigs relatively quickly for a high schooler. And the thing that sold me on him, Sparky, was Jackson Holiday had a stretch where he was struggling to start this year, and he had a really, really good May. And the storyline was Matt Holiday, his dad, called down and said, hey, you've been doing this in the box, maybe make this switch. And sure enough, Jackson Holiday got going. I would love to have that sort of bloodline, because a big question mark around here is, can they develop talent? And look, I don't know that they could, but when you have a built-in hitting coach in Matt Holiday that can help you out along every stretch, I think that's an extra incentive. So I would go with Ethan Holiday personally, but I would probably say that it's leaning more 60-40 Anderson over Holiday at this point.
I tend to side with you. I think I'd go with Holiday too. And I don't know much about the other guy. I'm just saying that makes a lot of sense. We went through it here, right? We had Prince Fielder. His daddy obviously played in the big leagues. Tony Gwynn Jr., his daddy played in the big leagues. Now we got Prince Fielder's kid, Jaden Fielder, in the Brewers minor league system as well. So the Brewers are big fans of bloodline picks. Without question, they're fans of it. And it's worked sometimes. It's not guaranteed to work every time. Look at Michael Jordan's kids. That didn't work. But sometimes it definitely does work. Toby, thanks so much. Tell everybody about your baseball podcast that you have as well.
Yeah, Bustin' Loose Baseball, talking about the Nationals. So if you want to, I remember Bart's big thing when I worked with him back in Milwaukee is everyone loves DC sports out in Milwaukee. So that was something he always brought up. But Bustin' Loose Baseball, me and Grant Paulson talking about all things draft. Maybe you want to listen to what our thoughts are after the number 1 overall pick made on Sunday. We'll have something for you. Real quick, Sparky, though, on the way out, my favorite pitcher to watch right now, Jacob Mizorowski. That guy's awesome.
Well, he's going to go to AAA, so don't get too used to it.
Well, regardless, whenever he pitches in a Brewers uniform, I'm tuned in.
No, I'm going to tell you why we think he might be headed there, and fans are going to go crazy if it happens. So, nasty Nestor Cortez, right?
I know
former
nasty
Yankee
Nestor.
pitcher. Yeah. So they got him in that Devin Williams deal. So he got blown up his first game against the Yankees, was great his second outing, then got hurt. Has not pitched since the second start of the season in April. He just had his second rehab start, pitched 4 innings, 50-some pitches for the Timber Rattlers at Class A ball in Appleton last night. So he's close to coming back, at which point there's going to be an issue, because the only person left with options in that rotation is Mizorowski, who's got all of them, and then Quinn Priester, who's been pitching well and starting tonight. He only has one option left. So if you burn that this year, and you've got him for another 5 years or whatever, you're not going to have that option. So they don't want to send him down. So then it becomes, okay, well, if Cortez comes in and you send Priester to the bullpen, is he going to be as effective in the bullpen? Or you send Mizorowski down to AAA until the trade deadline, let Cortez and Quintana showcase for a couple of weeks, maybe move one of them, and then bring Mizorowski back up. Plus, the other thing is you have the innings limit. They're saying 45, 50% year over year is all they want to do. Well, he only pitched 97 innings last year. So you're only going to have, maybe 9, 10 more starts left in him here. And that's not including if you need him in the postseason. So if you send him down to AAA, maybe you don't have to pitch him as much. Maybe it's once a week, and then you bring him back up and save some innings. Again, the national media will absolutely crucify the Brewers if they send him down. And I don't care what the reason is. They're going to get killed for it. But that might happen. But yeah, Mizorowski, I told Charlie this. He very well is going to go down as maybe the most talented Brewers pitcher we've ever had before this whole thing is said and done, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, please just keep him healthy, because he's my favorite pitcher to watch at the moment. It's disgusting. I don't even know how you ever get a hit. I haven't seen guys come up and make dudes look as foolish as he did, especially in his debut, like in the Twins outing. I don't know if I've seen someone make professional hitters look as stupid as they did against the Miz.
It's so awesome. And what's the deal with Ohtani? Ohtani jumped out of the box twice in this last series, jumping backwards like he was scared of the ball, but he got so faked out twice and the ball coming back. And once was against Miz, and who was the other one against? Quintana? Or was it? No, it was Quintana, I think.
Quintana.
Yeah. So both of those guys, he jumped back, and they were both called strikes, and he was kind of just shaking his head in amazement at both pitches. So, Toby, thank you so much, and check him out, 106.7 The Fan. Follow him on Twitter, a fun follow, at Toby_Altizer, especially in this series, Brewers and Nationals. Like, he's going to have to be talking about the Brewers some on his Twitter feed. So, Toby, thank you so much, buddy. Have a good one.
Always great to chat, Sparky.
You bet you. Take care. There he is, Toby Altizer, joining us on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Coming up next, things that we missed on today's show. We did not get into the Bucks preseason game, but we are going to get into the Bucks preseason game coming up next. We're going to talk about what Doc Rivers had to say in the telecast, and first-time Hall of Fame candidates. That came out, I believe it was yesterday. We'll get to that. And hopefully we have time to get to Coach Gundy at Oklahoma State. Because as always, whenever he talks, something is going to come out of his mouth that people are going to want to talk about. So he was definitely not shy in the NIL stuff. We'll talk about that too. Straight ahead, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and streaming live on YouTube at The Fan Milwaukee. Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy, Steve Sparky, Fifer, Charlie Hughes, and other side of the glass. Thanks for tuning in here on a Friday. Don't forget, Us Days is going on with U.S. Cellular. Their exclusive event to celebrate loyal customers with unique offers. This includes big discounts on new phones and tablets, plus other giveaways and events like parking lot parties, baby. You can find your nearest local event at uscellularparty.com. Find out which one is closest to you. These parking lot parties are only going on till July 16th, nationwide, not just here in Wisconsin, all over the country. And if you can't make it to one of those, have no fear. You can still visit a U.S. Cellular store, check out the U.S. Cellular website, and check out the best upgrade offers of the season. I said before, earlier in the week, I got a text message for Us Days. They were doing a smartwatch promotion that was very cool. So, again, you need to be a customer for U.S. Cellular. Take advantage of these deals. If you're not, like I have been for the last decade or so, just make the change, man. It's all good. Just make the change to U.S. Cellular, man. Get on board. You're not going to have to fight with customer service people. I'm not going to name the name of the company. But the one company, I swear to you, every other month I was in yelling at somebody in a store about screwing up my bill and this being wrong and that being wrong, them not knowing how to fix what was wrong. Poof, done. Okay, never ever again. I don't care what happens. We won't have a phone. Never will I go back to that company. So multiple times we've had issues. Never have had an issue with U.S. Cellular. It's just totally amazing. So check them out, become a customer, and then go be a part of an Us Cellular party. Check them out at uscellularparty.com for Us Days going on till July 16th. All right, things that we missed. So last night, some of you diehard Bucks fans probably were tuned in and watching the Bucks and the Nuggets 8:30 tip. I don't think that thing got actually. I was at home watching that thing. I don't think it actually tipped to like 8:45 or somewhere in that area. But it was a crazy ending.
Liddell all over him, the step over. He gets it up for the win! Booyah with the booyah! The Bucks win on the buzzer beater! What a way to end day one of Summer League!
Beautiful thing. Booyah for the booyah. Perfect. Couldn't have done it any better. That was the perfect call. Absolutely amazing. And I'm sure he knew going into that game. This dude hits a shot. I'm using booyah to go along with it. Because, again, makes all the sense in the world. After the game on NBA TV, he talked.
Take us through that feeling. Balls in your hand. Like being in the parking lot or being in the backyard at home. Take us through it.
Just my teammates had confidence in me. My coach had confidence in me. I walked out the huddle and I asked, should I shoot a 2 or a 3? And coach said, go for the win. So that's what I tried to do.
Is that the play was to get the ball to you and try to get to your best spot and get to your back, as the kids like to say?
Absolutely. Like the playground, like playing with my brothers when I was a kid, man. Dream come true, man.
All right. So this is an older cat, right? So he actually was out in the 22 draft, undrafted, played at San Francisco. I want to say is where he was. 2-way contract with the Bucks. And definitely has the ability to get his own shot. Now, again, I don't see him on this roster necessarily. But then again, I didn't see Ryan Rollins signing a 3-year, $12 million deal either prior to last year beginning. So that does not mean this cat can't get onto the roster. But it does appear that he has a knack for the ability to get his own shot and score the basketball, which, again, when you're talking about last couple of guys on the bench would be something nice to have, Charlie.
I mean, a moment like that, I think, does get you a job. Maybe not with the team you're on, but with somebody in the league, at least some kind of G League contract. It gets you out there and gets your name out there. So I think that's really important first for him. And then with this Bucks team, I mean, if he's going to give you some kind of impact in this league, having him on the bench in that 10th, 11th, 12th man role wouldn't be that bad of a thing. It'd be the same kind of impact that Marjon Beauchamp was giving you this past season. So just giving this guy an opportunity when he's shown you in this summer league, at least in one instance, if he can keep this going, that he may be a vital part of that bench group if you needed him to be.
Correct. Yeah, no doubt. And another guy that stepped up that people were excited about is a guy named Cormac Ryan. Don't worry, just listen.
And they got a boost from the bench. Cormac Ryan, 9 points to help Milwaukee take the lead at the end of one.
So this dude was undrafted in 24, played some at Notre Dame. I think he ended up at North Carolina. Is that where it was? Yeah, Notre Dame, Stanford, North Carolina. So 3 different schools. So this dude is 6'5", about 200 pounds. He played last year for the Oklahoma City Blue in the G League. So we'll see what they do with him. And immediately, what do you think happened on Twitter?
Just went viral. Everybody loved it.
John Horst knows how to find a white sniper, man. He knows how to find the great white shooters, man.
I thought it was just going to be nice.
Like,
Everybody.
It went to race immediately. Look, man, he got another white shooter.
I thought it was just going to be nice.
That's what it is all the time. That's what it was. Yes. They all went to race. I'm watching this. I was like, why do we got to bring up that he's white? Why does it matter that he's white? White shooter, white sniper, all this stuff. I was like, okay. But one game. I didn't see him play in the G League last year, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I know a whole bunch about Cormac Ryan because I didn't watch the G League all that much last year. But again, another guy, that's a wing guy that can shoot the basketball, right? So that also would make sense if somehow, some way, he ends up affiliated with the Milwaukee Bucks kind of going forward. But if it's one game, I don't want to overreact. I am going to overreact with this clip, however. We mentioned this earlier, but I didn't want to play it until now, and I mentioned we were going to play it. This is Doc Rivers on NBA TV. There are so many things wrong with this. Just listen.
Brought up with Giannis. He thought I had lost my mind because he's already has the ball in his hands. But like having him bring it up every time, it eliminated. You know how the whole league right now, everybody's pressuring the ball. Nobody's pressuring Giannis.
No, nobody.
And so it allowed us, even against Indiana, to bring the ball up pressure free. You know, the most dangerous guy on our team had the ball already. And when you put shooting around that, and that's where the Gary Trents and A.J. Greens, like I think both of those guys are going to have breakout years for us. That's where that all came into play. So I want to pick up from that and build on it.
First of all, he said Giannis looked at him like he was nuts. Doc, in this interview, made it sound like it was his idea to have Giannis running point. Man, this was Jason Kidd's idea how many years ago? Come on, Doc. Don't be... And Jason Kidd is there. Like, he is there in Vegas. I saw the man sitting in the stands. You can't take credit for that one. This was Jason Kidd's concept to begin with. This was all Jason Kidd's idea. Giannis wouldn't be able to handle the damn ball if it wasn't for Jason Kidd putting him into that situation. And I know, whoa, in the men's YMCA league he was in before they drafted him, I saw him running down the court, dribbling the basketball. Fine, but it was not the same thing. Like, Kidd took him from that infancy of let's see if you can do it to doing it and showing him how to run downhill with the ball and kill people. That's what that was all about. That was Jason Kidd. So that was the first thing. Doc acting like he invented this. No, you didn't. That's my first issue. My second thing that we brought up earlier was, why are you connected to Russell Westbrook? Why are you connected to Chris Paul? Makes no damn sense. If he's saying he's going to be the point and he's going to bring the ball up. Now, again, on defense, he's going to defend the 4. But on offense, if when we come up, you're running the show, you're dribble driving, kicking and all this, and you're initiating and starting offense and calling plays, you're doing all that, then why do I need an assist first point guard? Because if he's initiating the offense, I'm going to hate myself when I say this, but you could get Bradley Beal to be the other guard with Gary Trent and A.J. Green and whoever. If Bradley Beal's not going to initiate, Gary Trent's not going to initiate, if it's going to be Giannis, and then you have Rollins and KPJ off the bench to initiate when Giannis goes to the bench, then you could have 2 shooters out there at the guard position. You wouldn't need the traditional assist first point guard if he truly means what he says, that Giannis is going to run this offense.
No, you wouldn't. But also, I feel like, especially in the last kind of quarter of the season last year, that they were running Giannis at that point guard position, more so not because Doc is a genius and felt like he needed to put Giannis there, but out of necessity. Giannis was the best passing player on the floor when Damian Lillard was not on the court. Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins, while they do play the point guard position, both of them don't really play the traditional point guard position. They aren't really pass first, and when they are pass first, they make mistakes. Giannis was the one who wasn't going to make mistakes. So it's not really, you can't come on national TV when it was clearly obvious that you just needed Giannis to do that. And what that tells me now that he's saying this again, more so is that, yes, maybe they there are rumors for Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, but maybe the Bucks really aren't that close, and he's preparing for another season of having Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins as his starting point guards, and he doesn't believe that they are as good or can be as good of a passer as Giannis is at this moment.
I'll give you something else. This whole Gary Trent and AJ Green setting up to have a career year. AJ Green had a career year last year because he had no career. So now you're saying, okay, he's going to have the next step. He can't have the next step if he's Pat Connaughton. If he's an inconsistent shooter where he's hot for a couple games and then we're cold and then we're hot and then we're cold, it's not going to be a career year unless you're just saying he's going to average 8 shots a game and he's going to get more shots. Okay, then I guess because you'll have a better chance of getting more points and whatever. In order for AJ Green to have a career year, it has nothing to do, in my opinion, with if Giannis is the point or if Chris Paul is the point or Russell Westbrook or whatever else. He still has to hit the damn shot when he gets the ball, regardless of who the point guard is. If he's going to have a career year, he has to be more consistent. Plain and simple. And the same with Gary Trent. Just has to be more consistent throughout the year. That's what this is going to come down to. Because I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, that if Chris Paul is the point guard, that all of a sudden those two aren't going to get as many shots. That if Russell Westbrook is a point guard, they won't get as many shots. Russell Westbrook needs to get his 10 assists a year, everybody. He's going to pass the hell out of the ball. So they're going to get their opportunities to shoot the basketball with him too. So maybe if it's Kevin Porter Jr., maybe they don't get as much. Maybe. I think Rollins is going to pass the ball. I still think they get their opportunities there.
I think what comes to mind first is, newsflash, Giannis is a 30-point-per-game scorer. They're not going to get that many shots in the first place no matter what.
Yeah, but you have no two. You have no second score. Unless you tell me Miles Turner's taking 15 shots, which God help us.
Which he might. I mean, you don't pay him that type of money unless you think he's going to be at least a top 3 option on this
15,
team.
That would be a lot of shots. Maybe that's how they convince him.
It's going to be him or Bobby Portis based on this current roster construction.
Right. Maybe that's how they convince him to come. That you're going to be the number 2 scoring option, and you're going to get 5 more shots a game, 6 more shots a game, guaranteed. Got nobody else. You're going to get all those shots. Maybe that's why he signed. Maybe it wasn't as much about the money as far as just blowing up his stats and blowing up his numbers for the next contract.
I've said this before. Brook Lopez, when he was forced to be that leading scoring option this past couple of seasons for the Milwaukee Bucks team, when he was that third option and then all of a sudden became the first option in some games, he stepped up and played well because of the way the Bucks system is. The way that type of center plays, it moves in tandem with Giannis. Again, it's not an opposite style of play like Damian Lillard was. So when Giannis isn't on the court, you can keep running that style with that center. Just give him more shots. I mean, if Brook Lopez could do it at the age of 800 and slower than anything I've ever seen before, I think Miles Turner, who's in a lot better position, can go and do that for you at a more consistent rate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I want to get to first-time Hall of Fame candidates here just quickly because we had talked about this earlier. And then we never got to it necessarily. So Ryan Braun is one of the guys on this list. And I guess we could do a topic at some point of whether or not you think Braun should be in the Hall of Fame. Everybody knows my thought on this because he's a cheater. So no, he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. Other people, Shinso Chu, Edwin Encarnacion, Gio Gonzalez, former Brewer, Howie Kendrick, Matt Kemp, Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels has to be in, I would think. Let's see, Nick Markakis, a lot of Hall of Very Good guys in this, if we're being honest, Charlie.
A lot of them. He quote tweeted this post and said all these guys belong to me, basically.
No doubt.
I wouldn't say
Hunter Pence, right? Rick Porcello, Neil Walker. I would say of all these dudes, I would say Cole Hamels would be the one guy I would say definitely probably gets in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think it's Hamels. I think it's Edwin Encarnacion, 430 home runs over his career. I think you get to that type of number,
that's a lot.
It gets you up there, and he played a long time and played well for a long time. Only thing that's going to hurt him is that he was a DH.
Yes, that will hurt him. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that as well. All right, that'll do it for us, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. It's been Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I know a lot of you will be busy this weekend. Be careful tonight. They have a tornado watch issued for us until 11 o'clock tonight. Tornado watch from the National Weather Service issued until 11 o'clock this evening. Charlie is working at his other job bartending, so if you see Chicago Charlie, say him what's up, give him a good tip. Tommy Wirtz lives here at the station, so you'll hear him doing the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Plus, you'll hear about Wisconsin Sports Weekend tomorrow morning from 9 to 11 with Charlie Usen. Enjoy your night. 6 o'clock. Listen to Tommy getting you ready for Brewers and Nationals. Toodles.